Did you see that, Miles?
See it.
Is that a coffee shop or a disco?
Dad, you're old, man.
Sony's animated Spider-Man movies have grown into one of the most loved superhero franchises around, and it's not hard to see why, because they brought a totally different energy compared to live-action comic book films. Instead of being limited by physical sets and realism, these movies go all in on wild visuals, fast pacing, and bold art styles. Both Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse earned huge praise from critics, longtime comic readers, and general audiences, and they connected with people because they felt fresh, even though the character has been around for decades. It worked so well because the animation style matched the multiverse concept perfectly, so the storytelling felt bigger without losing emotional focus. Instead of sticking only with Peter Parker as the center of everything, these films shift the spotlight to a whole bunch of spider people across different universes, with Miles Morales acting as the emotional anchor. He's basically positioned as the next major spider hero, and the story follows his growth across increasingly complex multiverse problems. The movies also feature a stacked voice cast, which helps bring personality and depth to each version of Spider-Man and their allies. Because of that mix of creative visuals and strong performances, the films didn't just do well with reviewers, they also pulled in solid box office numbers, so they landed as both critical and commercial hits. Even though the first two movies were big successes, the third one, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, has had a pretty rocky development timeline. It was originally being worked on alongside Across the Spider-Verse because the plan at first was to make one large sequel split into two parts. But the workload turned out to be massive, so the studio decided to focus resources on finishing Across first and rework the follow-up properly. That shift led to delays, and then production got hit again by industry strikes, which slowed things further because voice actors couldn't record. So although fans expected a faster turnaround, the schedule kept stretching out. Now there is finally a confirmed release date, and the movie is set for June 18, 2027. That gives the team a long runway to finish the animation and polish the story. Although release dates can still move, this one is far enough out that it suggests the studio wants stability instead of rushing. The creators have described this film as the true conclusion of Miles Morales' trilogy arc, so the goal is to wrap his journey in a complete and meaningful way. Because the earlier films set such a high bar, the team has repeated that taking extra time is necessary so the ending lands properly. Updates from the cast have also helped paint a clearer picture of where production stands. Over the course of 2024 and 2025, different voice actors shared when they expected to start or had already started recording. Karan Soni, who voices Spider-Man India, mentioned he was preparing to record, while Jarrell Jerome said at one point that sessions hadn't begun yet. Later on, Shameik Moore confirmed he was recording lines, and Hailee Steinfeld also shared that she was working on her dialogue. Greta Lee, the voice of Lila, said she had finished her part. So recording has been happening in stages instead of all at once, which lines up with how complex animated productions usually work. The filmmakers have also spoken publicly about why the delay was necessary. At CinemaCon, the directing and writing team explained that the finale needed extra care because it's the payoff to everything built across the trilogy. They even showed early footage and images, although nothing that gave away major story details. Another confirmed detail is that composer Daniel Pemberton is returning, which matters because the music has been a big part of the series' identity. The soundtrack and score help define the tone, so bringing him back keeps creative continuity across all three films. Some cast members have hinted at the emotional weight of the story too. Brian Tyree Henry, who voices Miles' father, said audiences should expect a very emotional experience, suggesting the ending hits hard. Others have stayed more guarded. Jason Schwartzman, who plays the villain Spot, avoided confirming whether he had recorded yet, and Jake Johnson, the voice of Peter B. Parker, even said he wasn't fully sure if he appears in the third movie, although the previous cliffhanger strongly suggests he does. So while not everyone is giving specifics, the general tone points to a big, character-driven conclusion. Most of the major characters from Across the Spider-Verse are expected to return, with the same voice actors attached. That includes Miles, Gwen, Miguel O'Hara, Spot, Spider-Punk, Spider-Man India, Spider-Bite, Jessica Drew, Peter B. Parker, and a bunch of others introduced across the first two films. The earlier movie featured a bunch of quick cameo voices from well-known actors playing alternate Spider-People, but none of those cameos are confirmed yet for the third entry. Because the Spider Society concept is still in play, it wouldn't be surprising if more surprise appearances happen, although nothing official has been announced. Story-wise, the third film picks up immediately after the cliffhanger ending of Across the Spider-Verse. Miles ended up stranded in the wrong universe with no clear way home, and he came face to face with an alternate version of himself who became the Prowler instead of Spider-Man. That twist sets up a direct conflict, but also opens the door for an unexpected alliance, because there are theories that the two versions of Miles could end up working together. Because the series likes flipping expectations, that possibility is very much on the table. Miles is also still in conflict with Miguel O'Hara and most of the Spider Society, because Miguel believes Miles' actions threaten canon events and could damage entire realities. But Miles isn't alone. He still has support from Gwen and a bunch of allies including Spider-Punk, Spider-Man India, and Spider-Bite, who are already preparing to go after him and help at the end of the last film. That split inside the Spider Society sets up internal tension because it's not just heroes versus villain, it's also heroes disagreeing with each other about what's right. The larger threat hanging over everything is Spot, who has grown into an extremely powerful multiverse villain. His goal involves reshaping reality itself, which raises the stakes beyond personal conflicts. Because of how dangerous he's become, it's likely that even spider people who disagree will have to cooperate to stop him. And since some cast comments hint at a heavy emotional ending, there's a real chance that not every character makes it through the final battle. That risk adds weight to the finale because consequences feel real. The 2027 release year is also interesting because of how close it lands to major Marvel live-action events. Beyond the Spider-Verse arrives about 6 months before Avengers: Secret Wars. That timing matters because the Avengers film is expected to close out the current multiverse storyline in the MCU and possibly reset a bunch of timelines. If that happens, releasing the Spider-Verse finale first allows Sony to finish its multiverse story on its own terms. Because Sony has paused a bunch of other Spider-Man-related projects, this could act as a clean endpoint before any broader resets happen. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.